What's up, guys? I have seen a bit of discourse on here recently about the difference between the word transgender and transsexual, and I thought I would give my two cents on what my thoughts are. I have seen a lot of trans creators on here tagging or labeling themselves as transsexual, tagging themselves as transsexual in their posts. I myself have, in my bio, have myself as millennial transsexual, and in most of my posts, I tag myself as a transsexual too. And I've seen like certain people say that it's offensive to use the word transsexual, or it's a slur to use the word transsexual. I mean, I personally I don't see it as a slur if you're using it as like the definition of the word as it's intended. This is from Wikipedia. A transsexual person is someone who experiences a gender identity that is inconsistent with their assigned sex and desires to permanently transition to the sex or gender with which they identify, usually seeking medical assistance, including gender-affirming therapies, such as hormone replacement therapy and gender-affirming surgery, to help them align their body with their identified sex or gender. That is the way that I use this word. I don't feel that it invalidates anybody else's identity to use a specific language to identify myself with. And here we have the Wikipedia page for the word transgender. Transgender person, often shortened to trans person, is someone whose gender identity differs from that typically associated with the sex they were assigned at birth. Transgender people who desire medical assistance to transition from one sex to another identify as transsexual. Transgender is also an umbrella term in addition to including people whose gender identity is the opposite of their assigned sex, trans men and trans women. But yeah, you can be transgender, you can be non-binary and transgender at the same time. You can be transsexual and transgender at the same time. You can be non-binary, transgender, and transsexual all at the same time. You know what I mean? So none of these words are like mutually exclusive. I just think it's like another word that you can use as a descriptor to describe yourself. So, and because a lot of my content is focused around like my medical transition and you know, the my gender dysphoria, which has been very severe and has like caused me to want to like medically transition, that is why I use that specific language to identify myself. I'm not a big fan of the discourse about like how if you aren't this or you aren't that, then you aren't really trans or whatever, because like I think that like if you I mean, I'm not one to invalidate anybody's experiences. I personally like I think that a lot of trans people that have like that medically transition like myself have had a very similar experience. Like a lot of us could practically tell each other stories with the way, you know, that we like pretty much 7 or 8 years old, we all figured it out around the same time, and then we all wanted to like, you know, start transitioning around like 13, like for like a lot of us anyways, not everybody, it's not a rule, you know, but like a lot of us. But like you're valid, like if you are struggling with your gender identity or anything like that, I can't you can't expect me to like understand everybody, like just like I can't expect everybody to understand what I'm going through. You know, obviously I feel like with like it's very like gender dysphoria, I personally I don't see how anybody could understand it without personally going through it themselves. And so I apply that same logic to like non-binary people or people who don't medically transition. I can't possibly understand what you're going through, so I wouldn't attempt to invalidate what you're going through. So you're valid. But yeah, I guess that's all for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.